What's up, guys? Back with another Honkai Star Rail video. In this video, we're going to talk about, is Honkai Star Rail free to play? Or I guess free to play friendly in a sense. Now, I'm just going to go over a few things. Mostly, this is just a lot of drama on, I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it on people's YouTube comments. In general, it's just your basic Star Rail versus Genshin versus whatever, right? People spin their own agenda on it. I've seen wild takes on both sides. People will defend what they like to the death, right? But it had me thinking: is Star Rail truly like pay to win? Is there really a power creep? Yes and no, right? Now, really quickly, we are gonna go over characters real quick, right? Now, when we go to characters, is there power creep? Yes, in the sense of character strength, right? Like if you compare someone like Natasha to someone like Luocha or Ho-Ho, right? Major difference, right? If you compare someone such as, let's say, like what's a like Su Shang to like Argenti, right? Obviously, there's a lot more to the new 5 stars or the new 4 stars, right? Like Jue is definitely way stronger than someone like Arlen, whatever. Even though they're both 4 stars, it's really just the more time passes, the better characters are. Just how gacha games and other games in general work, right? So nothing shocking there. Yeah, the new characters are better than the old characters. That's just how it is, right? But that's not really a big deal because the game's content isn't really power crept. I have videos of me clearing all of these, getting all of the rewards on S rank with free characters on the free to play account. Well, I guess I should call it the no pull account. And then the 2 once Kokolia and Yanqing that I did on the main account, I brought free characters. I just had a more built doctor ratio on my main account, but he's still free, right? So it's not like people are struggling, or at least they shouldn't be struggling. It's mostly coming down to account management, which I might make a video on this because I kind of fell into this hole as well. People are not building the right characters, or they don't play a lot, which if you don't play a lot, that's fair, right? You're not like, don't expect to be all content if you don't play a lot. That's just how it is with most video games. If you don't put in the time, you're not going to be able to beat newer content. If you don't put in your time to build your characters, they're not going to be strong enough, right? The free to play actually struggles with the Beetle Boss, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I didn't do my weeklies on this account yet. But on my free to play account, right, this like bug boss for Dr. Ratio absolutely rolls me. I just am not strong enough to beat it, right? I don't have the right characters built. And I feel like what it comes down to with Star Rail is people build their favorites and they don't look at what characters they should be building, right? I'm not saying don't build your favorite characters, but if you optimize, like, let's go to team setup for real quick. That was not team setup. All right, let's go like team 9, right? If your favorite characters are like, oh, I really like Himiko, Yukong, Luca, and like, I don't know, let's say like the MC, right? This team isn't going to be doing anything crazy, right? There's not a whole lot of synergy. Like, you can make this work, I guess, but there's not a whole lot going on here that would really mesh well. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. Most games that are RPGs, you need team synergy, and I feel like most people who are complaining that it's not free to play or it's just like power creeps too crazy are running teams like this. Even if you are running, like, let's say you have a better team and you're running like this, right? We have like pretty good characters, you can still not do good because you don't have your traces level up, your relics are kind of bad, right? As long as you have somewhat decent relics, you should just be rather fine as long as you just have a coherent team comp, right? The reason I put sock post because a lot of people will have like that oddball character they have on a team just because they like them, right? People do it in all the other RPGs. They'll do it with like Pokemon like Pichu. Pichu, awful stats, crappy Pokemon, right? I like Pichu, so I just run Pichu on the team just for the meme, right? So people do that, right? That's fair. But if you have a coherent team, even like through 4 stars, right? Like you could just do like boom, boom, um, boom, like boom, right? Sure, you could run something like this, right? At least the team is coherent. Pela debuffs, right? Natasha heals. Jue and QQ do damage, right? That's somewhat of a coherent team. If you have them raised up, you can beat most of the content. I wish I had the free-to-play account earlier. I wish I made it like day one, because I'd have it up and ready to go to beat content. The only content I truly believe that is not free-to-play friendly, because Golden Gears, right? It's still on the screen, right? Like stuff like this is mostly just if you get the right buffs, you're fine. Fun enough, I haven't beaten this yet, but I've already seen a million like Blade solo, yada yada solo, like for all 4-star teams, right? No healer, whatever it be. It's really just get the right buffs and progress enough to boost up your stats. Like a normal simulated universe, if you play enough, you get stat bonuses to attack, HP, you get bonus effects. If you get those, it becomes way more manageable with free characters or even crappily built characters to beat it, right? So simulated universe is more so just like get better buffs, right? However, I will say stuff like Forgotten Hall can be beaten, right? It's a bit harder. MOC 11 and 12 are kind of this does not bring me to MOC. I'll just go to the map, I guess. But MOC 12 is kind of the outlier here just because people were beating the MOC 10 with like full free-to-play teams before. 11 and 12 are a bit rough. You are going to need a bit, ignore this team by the way, you are going to need a bit more of an oomph, and if you have like the bad typings, right? Like for example, what was it, for free-to-plays you'd bring like Herda, and this one you'd have Dr. Ratio, and then you kind of would just fill the team out with like Boom, March, Natasha, and this team would have like MC. Where's the MC? MC. Maybe you could bring like Yukong and then like Lynx, right? Like you wouldn't have too many options, right? If this was like, oh, weak to fire, because there's like not a whole lot of free fire characters. I think like Guanfin would be like, in Hook would be the best options for like free to plays, right? Obviously typings do matter, but MSC 11 and 12 just are like beefy enough to where I could see that it would be a real problem. But most of the other content is not truly hard, and even MSC 11 and 12 you can still probably clear it at least. Like you're only missing out on like a little bit of rewards. People act like, oh, if I'm not beating 11 and 12, I'm missing out on like a free 5-star or something. You're not missing out on too much. So even if the game, like if you truly think it isn't free to play friendly and there's too much power creep, the game is too hard, you're not missing out on too much. Just playing the normal game, doing your dailies every day will get you enough currency and stuff most of the time. And if you are struggling because you feel like you're just missing out on too much, don't stress about it too much. Get your characters up and eventually you'll be able to clear some of the harder content. Like if you go in, you're like, man, my Yukong's traces are like, okay, well actually got my Yukong traces like somewhat okay. If you go in, you're like, oh, my Hook like can't do anything, you don't have traces, just focus on slowly building your characters. I'm gonna make a video on this just because I truly think that people who complain about Star Rail just don't build their characters, or they're just not focusing on the important things of using stamina, and that's why they're struggling, right? But regardless of that, I don't think Star Rail is pay to win. I don't think it is power creep general. Do they give enough currency to warrant how many banners and reruns they do? Probably not, right? You do have to skip a majority of the banners, and that's just how it is, right? Like, I would love to go for E2 Kafka right now, but I want Black Swan and her Light Cone. Obviously, I'm going to spend money because this is not nearly enough for both of those, realistically. And that's just how it is, right? It's a gacha game. You're not going to get every single character unless you spend money. You know, most gacha players understand that. Unfortunately, with the popularity of Genshin, a lot of non-gacha players play Genshin. I say this all the time, and a lot of non-gacha players are playing Star Rail because it is a Hoyoverse game. Don't expect to get every character. Hell, when I played gachas, I straight up just wouldn't have half of the characters that were released during the year. Like, I get the character in January, and then I just would save, and then June comes around, July comes around, like it's the anniversary for like Dokkan, and I just straight up wouldn't have the like 5 to 6 characters before then just because I'm saving. Like, it's what it is. You have to focus on building certain teams, and if you really like a character, go for it, right? I'm not saying don't go for a character, but don't be surprised if your team doesn't really work. You kind of have to balance the what characters you like and what characters are going to help your account, such as Fushuan, Luocha, Ho-Ho. Those are good characters that if you don't have, you're probably going to struggle a bit more than people who do have her, and that's just how it is. There's really not much to it. Kind of just like a rant video. I'm just annoyed that people are just crapping on Star Rail and even Genshin. In fact, people are like, "Oh, Genshin this, Genshin that." I think they're both good games in their own rights. They're different enough that they shouldn't be compared too much, but they're from the same company. They have the same summoning S system, so people compare them. It is what it is. I like Star Rail more personally because I'm just a big like turn-based RPG fan, but I think people are just not putting in the time. And if you don't have the time, like I said, it is what it is, right? Just slowly build your characters. Rome wasn't built in a day. It is what it is. Just, stop saying the game is bad because you can't beat something. It's like skill issue kind of thing. Anyway, I'm going to end the video there. Let me know what your thoughts are on Starro. Do you think it's free-to-play friendly? Do you think it's too hard? Do you think you just need to invest more time in your characters? Let me know in the comments, and of course, I'll catch y'all in the next Starro video.